What's up, guys? Thanks for clicking on this video. Make sure to go give me a follow at Everything Edge EDC on Instagram. Okay, so I've had this knife for a while now. Ever since Christmas, actually, this thing was gifted to me. And it's taken me a while to gather my thoughts on it, honestly. I knew I wanted something purpose-built. I knew I wanted something that was going to be in the pocket of my swim trunks. I like to fish. So I wanted something where when I'm wading up and down rivers, I have it in my pocket, zero worries about the rust. It's just there. Chose the fully serrated version because, you know, rope, fishing line, those are the kind of things that I'm going to want to be cutting with this. But it honestly turned into more than that. So let's talk about that. This is H1 steel. As you guys know, the overall length of this knife is 7 1/4 inches. The blade length is 3 inches, and the cutting edge we're looking at 2.65 inches. The stock thickness on this thing is 11/100ths of an inch. Flat grind that comes down to this hollow grind about halfway down the blade. It's a medium-sized knife. Can comfortably fit all 4 fingers on this thing. Do some comparisons. This is the Spyderco Salt 2 compared to the Paramilitary 2. That's a lot of 2s. This is the Benchmade Griptilian, and this is the Demco 80 20.5. So you can see it's not a large knife, especially when we're looking at the profile as far as height. It's very skinny. But overall, you know, medium-sized knife, not incredibly small or large. When I first got it, I had never owned a Delica or anything of that sort before, and I wasn't super impressed with just the opening mechanism was so stiff. I could not flick it out with my thumb, and I definitely couldn't Spidey flick it. I would push this lock back, I would push the bar down, and it would just stay. It wouldn't even move. So I put a couple drops of knife pivot lube in there, and it just worked it. I just used it and used it and used it and used it. And now it's perfect. I have no complaints with that. So the other thing that bothered me a little bit about this knife is you can see the chisel grind right here. It's chisel ground where there's that flat edge. But when I start to think about it, I mean, all these serrations are chisel ground. So why would you want this to be double when the whole rest of your blade is chisel ground? So that bothered me at the start, doesn't bother me now. It's obviously winter time, so I haven't had the chance to test this as far as like putting it in my pocket for, you know, wading up a river to go bass fishing or whatever. But I have tested this in a creek with super high mineral content in the water, dunked it in there, left it in there, and absolutely nothing. And that's what you can expect from this H1 steel. Incredibly tough, insanely corrosion resistant, and it's not going to hold an edge for, you know, barely any time. However, I will say, you know, after I started to really enjoy this knife more, started to fidget with it a little bit, I did carry this in my pocket for a solid 2 weeks. And, you know, I cut items every day with it, and those are still the factory serrations. And for serrations, to be able to do that on a knife is insane. So keep that in mind. I mean, people act as if you're gonna look at this steel and it's gonna break. or not break, but dull, and that's just not the case. So yeah, not gonna hold an edge forever, but it's fairly okay. I love this handle. This texture they have on here, it feels great. There are no inside liners, but it doesn't really flex all that much. So pretty solid, no problems with that. I love the jimping on this thumb ramp. Thumb feels solid in there. Good purchase, especially for such a thin handle. It's great. And I also really appreciate this pad that's also on the other side where the pocket clip contacts the scale of the knife. This is great because it prevents it from shredding your pockets when you're taking this thing in and out. So that's another feature I really like. So overall, this thing has totally grown on me, and it's actually a knife that I've come to love. Good pocket clip, great pocket clip actually. I appreciate on this knife specifically that it's not a deep carry, because when I'm in the water or when I'm doing something, when I'm fishing, when my other hand is busy, I want the convenience of having this much stick out of my pocket and being able to just grab onto that, pull it out, use it, put it away, all with one hand. I appreciate that. There's a nice coating. I don't know if it's a DLC or what. It feels like a DLC on this clip, and I love the continual rise on the bill of the clip. So no complaints with the clip, no complaints with the blade. And to anyone looking at the Salt series of Spyderco knives, I would highly, highly recommend. I had my doubts at first, very honestly, but after using and carrying this thing for quite a while, I will absolutely recommend this knife to anybody looking not only for a knife specifically for the water, but I would even recommend this knife to people that are just interested in blade steels and are wanting a unique knife to carry every day. Would certainly recommend. Maybe not the serrated edge, but yeah, this thing makes me really happy. So appreciate you guys listening to this, to my rant about this knife. But I just had to talk about it after I had taken some time to gather my thoughts about it. So thank you guys.